And now I will go ahead and pass it on to our first speaker, who is Maddie, and she will talk a little bit more about her experience with Bridge the Gap.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maddie. I'm a junior 2 nursing student, and I was in the Ethics of the Margins class. So I had the opportunity to work alongside Bridge the Gap, which is an educational program that helps kids in Marin City, Sausalito area. I worked alongside Mr. Kelly. He takes groups of kids, about like 5 to 10 at a time, and they'll help with like reading and writing skills because a lot of the students there have deficits when it comes to reading at the grade level they need to be. And then we had a change of plan. So we ended up going to a kindergarten class to help Miss Perez. Just a few things I would do with them was help them with reading and writing skills, guidance on their classwork, and just ensuring that some of the students stayed on task. At the beginning, I thought this would just be like a whole, like you would tutor the students, but that definitely changed. I thought it was more like a deficit mentality coming into Bridge the Gap, but working with them, that really changed for me. My mentality eventually transformed once I learned that in the lecture portion of class, we learned that the Latino and African American students scored lower in a lot of subject areas and compared to Asians or whites. So I was like, why is this data point keep continuing here in Marin City? So going into that, that's really what I stuck with. So eventually I developed a strength-based approach with the students. The theory required me to just determine what works best for each student. And then we learned about the cultural humility principle in class. So I used that, and I used the lifelong learning aspect of that. So I was open to different styles of learning, such as like they use a highlighter to like help them practice the word, to write the words. And like there was one experience where I would talk in Spanish and like count in Spanish with the students, and I do not speak Spanish whatsoever. So they kind of taught me something as well. So I was meeting students in the middle and just adapting to their strengths. And yeah, so I learned from the students that they learn best by using like visuals and repetition. And with that, we created a mutual learning style, and which benefited my students and myself and allowed me to be adaptable and more open to what worked for them. Just looking back at the semester, I learned that like feeling a sense of belonging, a person just become vulnerable and be willing to become a lifelong learner. Learning about the disparities that people of Marin City face required me to be committed to learning. I had to feel a sense of vulnerability to fully understand what my students were going through and how it held them back academically. So the mutual learning that we created required me to learn a new kind of vulnerability that I was not used to. So I used like community-based learning. So before taking the class, volunteering meant to me that you would just complete acts of service to a program to people that needed it the most. And working with Bridge the Gap changed that term for me because it is more than just helping out students in the community. It's ensuring that every one of our students receives the education they deserve. With the theme of belonging, I wanted to provide a fun-filled learning experience for my students, no matter their racial background or where they came from. Feeling a sense of belonging means accepting people for who they are and what they can bring to the table. My goal is to ensure that all my students felt accepted and didn't feel less than any other student in the class. All my students brought strengths that developed my way of tutoring them. Partnering with Bridge the Gap showed me that all students, no matter where they come from, can feel valued and accepted, which can improve their students' performance in the classroom. Coming from a soon-to-be senior at Dominican, I hope that everyone can become vulnerable when working with community partners and understand that service learning classes allows you to gain a new perspective on the term volunteering. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Maddie.